You are listening to the Path of Presence podcast, where we integrate head and heart with mindful alignment of branding, business, and social presence with Evelyn Foreman. Free resources are available on our website at pathofpresence.com. Join us on an awakening journey to flourish online, to build a sustainable lifestyle business, to market your program or service, to create intentional community, and to receive inspiration, information, and ideas on how to balance the entrepreneurial journey. Together, let's move forward as the light we've come to be, integrated, heart-centered, spirit-guided, and vision-led. And now your host, Evelyn Foreman. Well, hello, this is Evelyn, and welcome to our Path of Presence podcast today. Today, we're talking about the buyer's journey and how it boils down to a similarity of the buyer's journey to developing a friendship or relationship. Bottom line is that we've got to meet people where they're at. In today's episode, we're going to talk about just that, meeting people where they're at, developing a relationship, and then going from there. So it has been said that Jesus was a great salesman. So why is it that we have such a negative stigma of salespeople? When you think of sales, what immediately comes to mind? Well, for many, we think of the used car salesman. Maybe the guy that knocked on your door to try to sell you a vacuum cleaner that is perhaps thousands of dollars. Or maybe the Jinsu designer knife salesman who demonstrates the product that he's selling by cutting a tin can. Does that all sound familiar? Well, oftentimes we associate sales with dirty tactics and being duped to purchase something that we do not need or that we do not want. And if this is the case, if you hold this mindset and stereotype of salespeople, and therefore are really reluctant to engage in sales or try to tell people about your product or service, I've got good news for you. There is great opportunity within you to shift in consciousness. Now, people love buying. Contrary to belief, people love buying. Despite our reluctance, there's something to understand here. People are consumers. People love to buy. And we've got to understand this concept before we move forward on our journey of marketing, of offering our services and our products. Because many times we think that we are pushing our product on the other person, whereas what we're simply doing is explaining to them what it is the product is, if they are interested. It gives the buyers an opportunity to take a look-see, so to speak, into what we have to offer, and they decide for themselves whether it's appropriate for them. And so we're going to step back just a little and take a look at the 3 steps involved in the buying process so that you can have sort of a consciousness and awareness of where it is, what it is that your buyers might be thinking. The buyer's journey involves 3 steps. These 3 steps are consecutive and may not be skipped. You can't go from step 1 to step 3. They have to go in order. The first step is awareness. The second step is consideration. And the third step is decision. So we have step 1, awareness, step 2, consideration, and step 3, decision. So I'll be talking today about the 3 steps in that order: awareness, consideration, and decision, and what goes on for the buyer as they take the journey of these 3 steps. And then in the second segment, which is a separate episode altogether, I'll share with you the impact that social media has on these steps to influence the buyer's journey. My hope is to help you understand the power of empowerment, to gain a deeper understanding of social media, something that seems so time-consuming and nebulous and nonsensical at first glance. If your intention is to build a lifestyle business where you could essentially be anywhere in the world and still conduct your business, if your intention is to serve the world, if you have a message, a service, a product, or a method to help others live their lives in a way that better serves them, if you want to implement your life work so that everyone has access to it, and at the same time build community for yourself and for those involved who are wanting community, stay with me. Learning about the buyer's journey is understanding the science of buying. People buy from people who they know and trust. They don't just buy your service or program or product. They're buying into the idea of what you stand for and the space you could hold for them in their growth. As a result, you'll be compensated monetarily for your work in the world. You can pretty much substitute the buyer's journey with the journey of friendship. Simple as that, something totally relatable to everyone. You meet someone, you get to know them a little bit, and then you decide whether you want to be their friend or not. If you keep that model, that framework in your mind, it makes it so much easier. The first step to the buyer's journey is awareness. This is when someone first meets you. Awareness is when the buyer becomes aware of your company and what you might be offering, whether it's a service, product, or program. They become aware that you exist, that your business exists. They see you in a visual sense and are aware that you are around and available. This is what I would consider the see me phase of the buyer's journey. And for all intents and purposes, on a temperature scale, this contact to you as the marketer, as the business person, as the entrepreneur is a cold contact. They don't really know who you are yet. And more on this later. And so after you meet someone, you'll probably want to talk to them and get to know them a little bit more. This equates to the second step of the buyer's journey, consideration. After the buyer becomes aware that you are around and available, they begin to look at what it is that you do, be it a product, program, or service. They are evaluating whether what you have to offer is a good fit for what it is that they need. And in this stage, the buyer is taking into consideration all that they see, hear, and are exposed to, evaluating whether they want to be in relationship with you. The consideration stage, where you're getting to know one another, is the perfect time to educate your buyer. Rather than to push your product and to sell, the practice is simply to educate. You want to be of service to the buyer. This is what I consider the believe me phase in the buyer's journey, and an opportunity for you to convert that cold client in business speak to a warm contact. So the progression of technology in today's culture has empowered the normal person to research, to find information, and to make informed, educated decisions. The internet has totally leveled the playing field. Technology today has leveled the playing field to share information. No longer does information belong solely to large corporations, entities, and bureaucracies. The development of modern technologies such as websites, blogs, social media, videos, podcasts, and the like allows anyone, and I do mean anyone, to share information online in real time. Because of the technology at our disposal, we could essentially teach what it is that we know and get this out to those who need it on our terms. So you meet someone, they see you, they're aware of you, and you get to know them a little bit by talking to them. There's an exchange, a consideration, a dialogue even, and a sort of evaluation goes on. You're learning more about their experience, they're learning more about you. Perhaps you're evaluating, considering whether their worldview matches your worldview, and if there's a good fit of energy or friendship exchange. And then, after some time of getting to know them, now in real life, this could be a minute after you meet them, or maybe a few years after you meet them, depending on who they are and who you are. After you get a feel of who they are, what they represent, you might make a decision whether this person that you've met would be your friend or not. When you make that decision, it's similar to the third step of the buying process. The third step in the buyer's journey is the decision stage. This is where prospective buyers make the decision to purchase your product, program, or service. And then they become your customer. These prospective buyers believe you or believe in you. In the buyer's mind, what you have to offer meets their needs very closely. If you have successfully earned the buyer's trust and consideration, so much so that they now become your client. So in step 3, you have successfully made a friend. Same goes for the buying process and relationship. Okay, so I said in the beginning that the steps in the buying process are consecutive and may not be skipped. One follows the other. In the case of a friendship, you meet someone, they become an acquaintance, where there's a dialogue back and forth. You get to know them a little, and then you decide whether this person can become a friend of yours or not. So when someone becomes aware of your product, you don't just go up to them and ask them to buy it right away. This would feel totally contrite, as though you're walking up to a stranger and asking them if they want to join you for a 2-hour movie without knowing any of your social norms or habits. So the norm of business today has evolved from what we consider as push marketing to attraction marketing. This simply means that we're no longer pushing the product, telling them about the features and the benefits, getting in front of them about our product or service offering to sell to them. Instead, we are providing information and educating the potential client about their purchase, about what we offer and how it fits in with what they need. You provide the information that they need, which positions you in the role of service, which you are in fact providing information as service to them. This will showcase your expertise, and then they get to evaluate all the information that you provide to decide whether to be in relationship with you, whether they want to make a purchase or not. And so attraction marketing is great opportunity for both sides to consider whether they want to enter into a mutual relationship. Okay, so I'm dipping into the second segment of our buyer's process and relationship with the talk of attraction marketing. So I'll close this episode with a recap of the 3 stages of the buyer's journey. Number 1, awareness. This is the meet me or see me phase. Step number 2 is consideration. This is the evaluating whether there's a fit or believe me phase. And step 3 is the decision phase, which is also known as the join me or the pay me phase. So I'll look forward to you joining me in the next episode of this podcast, where I'll be talking about the impact of social media on the buyer's journey and how it has the power to empower your buyers in every stage of the journey. We'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Path of Presence podcast with Evelyn Foreman. Join us each week for mindful, engaging, enlightening dialogue to shift your awareness and build your business online. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this podcast by clicking on the subscribe button right here on iTunes. Join our Facebook page for updates, freebies, tips, and trainings at facebook.com/pathofpresence. Free business and social media marketing resources available on our website at pathofpresence.com. You are listening to the Path of Presence podcast with Evelyn Foreman. Have a beautiful day and aloha.